Welcome to my sound design and implementation demo. I used the free Unreal project created by the team at Airwiggles for their Implement Tournament contest. First of all, I want to thank Airwiggles team, Greg Lester and Louis Thompson, as well as John Kelleher and Avishai Karwan for sharing their work and providing such a fantastic opportunity for sound designers. So the game is quite straightforward. You fly around asteroids with a spacecraft, you can shoot at them and make them explode, collide with them, or just avoid them. You can boost the engine speed and tilt the vehicle up, down, left and right. That's pretty much it, nice and easy. My main goals were to record, synthesize, edit and design all the sounds myself, evoke low-tech sci-fi retro future vibe, implement the sound in Unreal with Wwise, and of course have a ton of fun. So here is my walkthrough. I knew I would need a lot of source material to create impacts, especially for when the spacecraft hits the asteroid and when the asteroids get damaged and explode. So I searched around my house for metallic impact sounds and recorded things like shutting the oven door, shaking a kettle and pots on the stove, dropping a toolbox and other similar items. For the debris sounds, I recorded paper waste falling to the ground, and the dog food being poured into a container or onto the floor. I also ventured outside, found an abandoned spot, and captured additional impact and debris sounds. Most of the recordings required some denoising and a bit of de-reverb. For the impact sound of a spaceship hitting an asteroid, I layered recorded impacts and added some effects. I created several variations, rendered them, and made additional tweaks using the sample engine in Arturia Pigments. I added some distortion to give them a more impactful, in-your-face quality. I also ensured I had multiple variations, including super soft hits, more impactful hits, and the hyped versions I designed earlier. This would be essential later for setting up a blend container in Wwise. Now onto the engine sound. I needed 5 main components: steady loops for when the vehicle is idling, another set of steady loops for when the spacecraft is moving at a regular pace, loops for when it's flying at high speed, sounds for engaging and disengaging the thrust, sounds for the engine boosting and stopping the boost. I started by recording a variety of noise types from my modular synth. Then I went sound hunting in the kitchen and realized that a few appliances had a steady engine-like sound. I was not shy to use my own voice as a source material for more sci-fi layer of the engine sound. There was a lot of experimenting, trying out different ideas and looking for a good balance of layers. Well, I wasn't too impressed with the hiss I made with my mouth at first, but after some time and messing with the knobs, I turned it into pretty sweet sci-fi loop, perfect for the boosting layer. I also tried turning the Thermomix recording into an idling engine sound, but in the end, I really felt it needed some extra support. So I started messing around with the Vital synth. A few minutes later, after experimenting with a few sounds and layering them with the Thermomix, I was pretty happy with the result. At that point, I had tons of sounds to choose from, blend and tweak with RTPCs in Wwise. It turned out that the same machines I used for the engine sounds were perfect for capturing more animated tones I could use for the thrust on-off stage and engine acceleration. So, welcome back to my kitchen. Again, those raw recordings needed a bit of credibility, so I put them into pigments and tweaked them until I found interesting variations. Now coffee machine. To enhance that retro future vibe, I wanted to add some synthetic material. So I went pretty wild with Vital. Oh man, that was fun. I realized I needed some airframe shaking sounds to layer with the engine. So welcome to my kitchen for the third and final time. I wanted 3 or 4 levels of intensity so I could blend them smoothly in Wwise with a blend container. Alright, now for the sounds of the asteroid exploding and getting damaged. My first idea was to blend organic material with distorted synthetic tones. For the organic part, I reused some recorded impacts and debris. As you might have noticed, I really like to tweak the sound with the Arturia pigment sampling engine. That was the case here too. Sometimes with the granular option, other times without. Next, the synthetic part. And layering. I needed many variations. Very nice indeed. The shots were purely synthetic, but I did not want every shot to sound the same. I also cleaned up the low end a bit and added a synthesized low thump to the main layer to enhance the punch in the low frequencies. Finally, I made a subtle soundbed from a noise recording. I used Pigment's resonator to make it half noisy, half tonal. I recorded a simple, evolving melody and made it loop seamlessly. I organized the assets into a hierarchy to keep the project nice and tidy. When needed, I used random containers. I controlled the intensity of the airframe metal shake using a blend container with additional RTPCs. The same logic was applied to the collision sound. This time I placed random containers inside a blend container. Later on, I thought I would add a sci-fi sound after every third shot to simulate a missile loading. So I synthesized the tones, layered the results, and set up logic in a sequence container. When it came to attenuation, I felt like only the asteroid-related sounds really needed it. Now onto the game syncs. As you might remember, the blueprints in Unreal were super clear and easy to follow. When it came to data output pins, almost all of them were related to the engine and they were float type. So I set up several RTPC curves, mainly to modify the engine sounds during acceleration. To make the mixing phase easier, I routed the sounds to their respective buses and used Soundcaster paired with the mixer. The next step was setting up a reverb bus. To reduce masking and make sure the explosion stands out, I set up sidechain. From then on, the explosion sound was ducking the spaceship sounds. Lastly, I thought it would be nice to subtly emphasize the ship tilting sideways and up or down. At the end, I posted AK events and RTPC notes in Unreal blueprints, and voila! So here is the final part. Gameplay. Hope you liked the video. Many thanks.